that just makes me feel like, oh my God, what is an entrepreneur? And at that point, I decided, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur. And so I started just searching out, man, what is an entrepreneur? What makes an entrepreneur great? And so I found 5 things that I believe that make an entrepreneur great. So I understand everybody here don't want to be an entrepreneur. That's fine. Entrepreneurship is not for everyone. But there is something about the characteristics of an entrepreneur heart that I feel like everyone can learn from. And so those are some of the things that I'm going to tell you about so that we can learn, grow, and empower ourselves. The first one I'm going to start with is boldness. Boldness, being bold. I remember when the first time I think that I ever was like bold or able to like be bold. I remember when I was living in Big Rapids. I got married when I was 18 years old. Didn't know what I was doing, but I'm like, I do, baby, and I still love him. And he lived in Ferry State. And so we wanted to come to Grand Rapids because we didn't want to go back home to Saginaw. And my husband was like, well, yes, go back home with our family. I'm like, no, I don't want to never go back to Saginaw again. I love Saginaw. I'm happy my family came from there. But I didn't want to go back. And so I told my husband, I want to go to Grand Rapids. He was like, we don't know nobody. I was like, that's okay. I remember that was the first time I ever taken a step and was bold. I actually came here by myself. My husband and kids stayed in Big Rapids. Came here at 19 years old, went into a shelter. I was being bold because I wanted to make a step to a future that I wanted. Growing up, I didn't have the things that I wanted, and I didn't have the motivation and the encouragement and the things that I needed, but it was just something about Grand Rapids that was just pulling my heart. And I remember coming here and going downtown to the shelter and being at the shelter, and I was like, didn't even recognize how bold of a move that was until literally a few years ago. Oh my God, that was so bold for me to come here at 19, homeless, going to a shelter by myself, leave my husband and I'm here. Believe me now, I'm so grateful I made that decision. So that was a wonderful thing about me being bold. So I want to tell people, being bold is not about, having it all or knowing exactly what you're going to do. Sometimes being bold is stepping out your comfort zone. Being bold don't always mean you're going to be comfortable. Being bold don't always mean you know what happened next. Being bold sometimes it almost feel like you just jump off the roof and like, hopefully I don't break no bones. Sometimes that's what being bold is. And as I was being bold and I started learning more about entrepreneurship and learning more about what it is to be an entrepreneur and to be a business person, and it just grew in my heart. More and more I seeked out for it, and the more I learned about entrepreneurship, I was so excited. I remember just calling my family, telling them stuff that I learned. Like, oh my God, calling my sisters and being so excited. Like, yo, I'm about to try this and I'm about to try that. And I done tried some crazy stuff. Thank God, like, my mom had like 7 kids, 6 girls and 1 boy. So I always got somebody to call and tell my crazy ideas to. So I'm so grateful for that. Give me some water. So basically, the next one I want to talk about is desire. So as I was searching out for me being bold, I feel like at some point you have to have a desire. After you seeking out and you're being bold and you want to become an entrepreneur, you want to do something that has to do with business, at some point, you're going to have a desire for something. And I personally really believe that God is the one who put desire in your heart. Like everyone knows, or most people know that I have my school, Mosley School of Hospitality. And that was a step of me being bold. But before I was able to actually step out and jump out on a limb on that, God was able to put desire for that in my heart. And I remember searching and researching it and learning more about it. And the more I was learning about it, the bigger the desire grew. And I believe once you get desire for a business plan, for your idea, regardless of what that is, making clothes, opening up a school, doing things that you've never seen anybody else do before. Always stay in, because I love God. So you're going to hear me say, seek God for your desire, for your plan, for your vision. Because when God gives you the desire, He puts that desire in your heart. Then He's able to take that same desire He put in your heart, He's able to build that desire up, and He is able to grow it for you. Once that desire grows, it overflows and it creates that you seek him for your desire, whatever your business plan is. I know I have Mosley School of Cosmetology in the house. Most of my students want to be an entrepreneur. They want to have some type of entrepreneur goal. And so my goal is to help them build that desire so that it can come to pass. I remember when I first had my vision for my cosmetology school, I wanted a school, but I didn't know anybody who had a school. I didn't know nobody to go to. Yeah. And so it's so important that you seek him for your desire, whatever your business plan is. I know I have Mosley School of Cosmetology in the house. Most of my students want to be an entrepreneur. They want to have some type of entrepreneur goal. And so my goal is to help them build that desire so that it can come to pass. I remember when I first had my vision for my cosmetology school, I wanted a school, but I didn't know anybody who had a school. I didn't know nobody to go to. Nobody trained me how to do it. I see God. Because one thing I have learned, he has all knowledge and he has all understanding, and you don't have to know it all. And that is the best part. I could just remember having a vision. And I can say it's a vision, it wasn't a dream, because even though I was asleep, you can't really interact with yourself in a dream. You just watch that like a movie. But a vision, you can interact like wow. And so, as I'm researching my school and trying to find out what I want to do with it, I had a dream one day. And that dream, I was like just in a school. And I'm like telling my students in the dream, I'm like, be who you want to become. Nobody woke up one day and became a doctor or a nurse. Right? At some point, they had to start studying that. They had to start doing the things to become that. They had to start going to doctor school. They put on the white coat. They start talking and walking and learning terminology of a doctor. And then they was able to become that thing. And in that dream, God said, this is your school. And I'm like, this is my school? I'm like jumping and running and, oh my God. I'm like, where is it at? And so I run outside and it's like in a strip mall in this vision. And I'm like, okay, am I in Grand Rapids? And I look over, it's a newsstand in the vision. I open up and say, Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm like, yes! I'm in Grand Rapids. And so, after that built desire even more for me. And I woke up and I went to Bible study and I went in there and I said, yo, I got my school. And I was so excited when I said, hey, where's that? That's what everybody looking. And I was telling everybody, I'm like, it's not in the physical realm right now. It's in the spiritual realm, but it'll be here soon. I'm telling you, man, is Teresa losing it? I'm like, no. Like, I have no mental problems. Like, I have it. And as that desire was able to grow, and God could already, I believe he put that desire in my heart to have one. And he was able to give me rhema so that desire can grow out and that desire can overflow. You know what I mean? And now I have my school. It's actually in the physical realm now. So I am so grateful for it. Another important thing that we need is passion. Passion. Passion is so important. After you get the desire, you need the passion so you can push forward and you can constantly stay motivated and encouraged to continue to push forward regardless of the situation, regardless of what it looks like. I didn't know exactly how to do a school. I never seen anybody do it before. But the passion I had in my heart, wasn't nobody gonna stop me. I remember just saying, I got this school. I don't have all the money, but that's okay. I believe God is gonna come through for me. And he did. And so that passion just grew. Couldn't nobody come tell me like, you ain't gonna be able to do it. People would come say, do you know anybody who ever did a school? No, that's okay. But I see it's an empire here. I see how I look. That's good enough. And I remember wanting to actually, go work in the school. Because I never worked in a school before when I opened my school. So I'm like, okay, Lord, because I talk to Jesus like this for real, y'all. I'm like, all right, Jesus, I need to go work in the school because I'm telling you what I'm doing. Because I never worked in the school before, so I really don't know how it runs. I see it because I went to cosmetology school, but I'm going to have to go work in one. And so I actually went and made a LinkedIn account or whatever, and the school contacted me. And it was like, wow, we never met somebody who had a bachelor's degree and an instructor license. I'm like, yeah. And like, come in for an interview. So I go in for that interview, and they're like, okay, we definitely want to hire you. What pay you want? This. I'm like, yeah, Jesus, because I need this because I'm about to learn some stuff, right? And so I get to church because I've been volunteering at church for 2 years because God told me to go there. And so I go to church and I'm like, okay, I walk into church after I go to the interview. I know they want me. I walk in and my pastor was like, I want to offer you a job. I'm like, I wonder And I love my pastor. I love the church. I've been involved there for 2 years. But I already had my own plan set in my mind. You know? And so I'm like, nah, I gotta pray. Right? Because I always want to be obedient to what God wants me to do. So because if he put the desire in my heart and he gave me the passion, I want to make sure I stay on the right path with my dream, with my vision, with my entrepreneurship goals. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to pray. So I'm like trying to reason with God. Lord, you know, I got to go work at this school because I got to learn. She said I could work in the office one day. She said that I could be on the salon floor for a few days. God's like, no, go to the church. I'm like, what am I learning at the church? I'm like, what am I learning at the church, God? I'm like, but I'm going to be obedient, right? Because I know how important it is to be obedient. So anyway, I went to the church like, you know, I don't want to tell you do something I don't want to do. I'm like, okay. And all my stuff starts falling into place. Everything I need happens. Grand opening day, I'm like, hey, right? That, somebody called me. They said, Teresa, grand opening day, y'all, I have something you want. I'm like, what this man got on? Let me count my 6 kids, because I knew he was. What did he possibly have that I want? And so he was like, I know you just opened that school. You need an accreditation. It takes up to 3 years once you open the school to get an accreditation. He said, how about I sell you my school because I want to sell it? I'm like, yes. I'm like, yeah, I'll meet with you. But because I was obedient, the same school that was trying to hire me, I have now. Yeah. Because I was able to be obedient, it was able to follow the plan. He gave me the boldness, he put the desire in my heart, and he gave me the passion to push through with my vision for my business. And so it's so important to be obedient, because I believe that God gives us those things, that he create entrepreneurs himself. Because it's a great thing to be an entrepreneur. It's a great thing to be able to give somebody a job. You can basically give somebody something in charity, but to give them a job where they can earn and make their own thing, that's a great thing. So I always be an entrepreneur. And the last thing, you guys, we need commitment. Commitment is so important. Because sometimes we get our dream, we have the boldness, we get the desire, he put it in our heart, you know what I mean? We have the passion, like, yeah, I'm ready, let's go, right? And then commitment come in. How committed are you going to be when it's not going the way you want it to go? How committed are you going to be when you ain't making the sales you want to make, right? But a true entrepreneur knows how important it is to be committed, regardless of what it looks like. They push through, they stay bold, they keep people around them that encourage them, girl, you got this. What do you need help with? And Grand Rapids is a great community. I mean, look how many people came here to help me today. Came here to support. There's people in this community and organizations in this community that's willing to help you. I mean, it's some of them in this room right here, people who have organizations to help you take that desire and put it on paper, make it into a plan so that it can also be into the physical realm. So I want you guys to understand that regardless of what's going on, regardless of, you know, how you feel once you finally get to that place, stay strong, stay bold, and stay committed. That's my time, and so we'll be calling up the next person. So we're about to do another raffle, y'all, so